how does it feel to be an Olympic champion, Chad?
Well, firstly, good evening, everybody. Um, I mean, it's such an overwhelming feeling to be an Olympic champion. As Graham said, you dream about this moment, as a young kid, and I think when you finally realize, you're standing on the podium and the national anthem is playing, I think, everything comes to you, and you think about all those sacrifices and all that hard work. So, I mean, it really is overwhelming, the whole feeling and the whole experience. So yeah.
Shall we go back to the beginning? Can you tell us how it all started?
When I was very young, I used to be a football player. I played a lot of soccer. My dream was actually to play for Man United one day, but under Sir Alex Ferguson. But I also started swimming when I was about 7 or 8 years old with Graham, and I was always just swimming for the fun of it. Just going to training 2-3 times a week, and really the dream actually started when I was about 12 years old. After watching Michael Phelps in the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens. He was actually 20. He was my age now, and I was just watching the TV with my dad and everybody at home, and we were basically saying, well, this guy's awesome. I want to be like him basically. And I remember going to Graham that afternoon or whenever it was, and I said to him, oh, he was at the games. Sorry, when he came back, I said, look, I want to be like Michael Phelps, and that's basically when the whole Olympic dream started when I was 12 years old. So yeah.
Um, let's talk about the training a little bit. Uh, can you tell us what a typical training day would be like for you as a teenager, and what sacrifices you probably had to make?
Um, well, a typical training day or typical training week, I think, would be we swim about 9 to 10 sessions in 7 days. Basically, a double session on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then just singles every other day except for Sunday. So we're training anything from 2 hours to sometimes 3 hours if Graham's had a bad weekend, and then we push it to three. But yeah, no, we do some long mileage. We worked it out. I think it's about 23 to 24 hours of swimming a week, with a little bit of gym and core work. So yeah, altogether it's about 12 sessions of training a week. So yeah.
We've heard a lot about Michael Phelps and how he's influenced you. Chad, can you tell us a little bit about Michael from your own perspective and what he meant to you?
Well, basically, growing up, he is still my hero. I mean, it's funny to think about because, I still have his poster up in my room. It's crazy. It's I beat the guy. I didn't think I would take it down by now, but ever since I was 12 years old, I always wanted to be like him. Every time I swam, I wanted to swim the same races as he did. I used to be a breaststroke swimmer growing up, and after the Beijing Olympic Games, when he won 8 gold medals, I wanted to swim the same 5 individual races that he swam to win those 8. And I had a bit of a groin injury at the time, so it almost was, like Graham said, it was destiny for me to start swimming butterfly. So I've actually only been swimming butterfly for about 4 years now. So basically,
Not
not too bad.
bad.
So Michael's influenced me in and out the water. To be like him and to just inspire the kids. I think that's one thing that he did really good. In the USA, he brought swimming, he changed swimming in the United States, and I think that's something that I'm looking to do in South Africa and around the world. I want to take swimming to greater heights. I want people to, instead of them being 5,000 people in the crowd, let's make it 10,000. If we have the space. So yeah.
Wow. Is that how your Olympic dream started then?
Yes. No. Pretty much.
Yeah.
It all began with Michael. So yeah.
Okay. Talking about Olympics, how long does it take to train? And do you do anything different from your usual training for the Olympics? Yeah.
Um, Graham touched on it. I made my first team when I was 16 years old, and basically, right from there, we wanted to go to the Olympic Games. We wanted to win, gold medals and medals. And I think, the training basically started from back then. Training's different. It's kind of like swimming is very different. It's not like football or rugby or any other sports, where you can have a good game on the weekend and you can, be the hero. I think swimming you can't hide. It's very individual sport, and it's almost like banking. The more you train, the more you bank it. And ironic, but anyway, yeah, we basically started training from 2008. And the real serious work began, I think, after like Graham said, the Commonwealth Games in 2010. So, it took about 2 years of solid, 24 hours of training, of swimming a week, and a lot of traveling around the world, and basically just hard work. Just like Graham touched on, it's a long journey, and I think, of course, you can see the rewards. It's definitely worth it. So yeah.
Okay. It's the Olympics, and you're in London, and you're going through the first few rounds. What's going through your mind?
Yeah. We arrived at the Olympic Games on a Sunday. I think it was 6 days before it started, and right from when we entered the village, we were just blown away by the whole experience. The whole Olympic vibe is very different to any other vibe. I mean, I've raced at the World Championships, the Commonwealth Games, Pan Pacs, and there's different vibes. The Olympic Games is completely different because you're among the best in the world, the best of the best. It doesn't matter what sport they were. You saw the dream team basketball players. I saw Ryan Giggs. At the dining hall. I mean, that was awesome. So right from when you arrive, you're among the cream of the crop. And when the first few rounds started, my first race, I was the first race, the 400 IM, which is a very difficult race. I went through the heats pretty comfortably, and I was seated second for the final. And basically I came fifth, and like Graham said, we weren't very happy with that. We really wanted to get a medal, so I was very nervous. Obviously, walking out into a stadium and looking up, and you see 21,000 people. It's it's a bit intimidating, and the English are very supportive, So yeah, I felt like I was at Old Trafford. It's a bit hectic, but yeah, it was incredible. Going through the rounds and just feeling different emotions. I think that was the biggest thing for me. Like I say, day one I was feeling very nervous. After day two I was very disappointed with not getting a medal, and then day three came, which was my 200 butterfly, and then of course the final, which was so special.
Chad, I've always wondered, you have these headphones on. What do you listen to?
My friend actually put together a little bit of a playlist for me. It's not really an artist. It's more like my old school was sang a song for me to wish me good luck. Like I don't know how to say it. Like a war cry, if that so to speak. So I was kind of listening to that before I swam.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's the finals now. I know Graham has touched upon this, but what happened from your words?
Like Graham said, I think it was pretty much destiny what happened. We, when we entered the final, the 28th, we knew, we walked into the arena 2 hours before. We do our usual ritual where we walk in and we basically walk through the core room. There's 3 different core rooms, and if I can touch a little bit on that, basically it's a room where it's pretty small, and there's only 8 chairs for the 8 finalists, and they're all kind of together. I don't know if they do that on purpose, but it's pretty scary because here you are, walking into an Olympic final, and you see Michael Phelps on your left, and you see the Japanese world number 2 on your right, and you're like, there's my seats in the middle. So what makes it worse is there's mirrors everywhere, so you can see everybody. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if they do it on purpose, but it's pretty, it's a daunting experience, So, when I walked through to the, our pre-match, ritual, we kind of looked at the crowd, and we just, we walked behind our block, and we looked through it, and we said, look, this is, the biggest 4 lengths, the biggest 200 meters of your life. And, when I prepared for the race, I do the usual, I warm up exactly 1 hour before I swim. And, just before Graham sent me off, those words that he said to me were, I didn't expect that, I said, Graham, anything, any last words? And he said, well, it's your last time to beat him, so if you want to beat him, beat him. And I felt like, is this what he's telling me before Olympic final? But, I mean, that's why he's the best. We work well together, and I think, that definitely motivated me. I knew that this was the last the last 200 meters of his, career, and, going through the race, the last 25 meters actually went in slow motion. I remember hearing the crowd, hearing Graham's whistle. He's got a very distinct whistle. It's, everybody can hear it. And usually I don't actually hear it too much, in a big race, but, I was coming through the last, 25 meters, and I looked over to my right, and I saw Michael Phelps, and I was like, oh, I'm catching him. And I started like, am I going to beat this guy? Is this really going to happen? And, I mean, like I said, when it's slow-mo and when I touched the wall, I actually, you know, I was a bit. I mean, I wasn't. I was very shocked, of course, but you know, it's like your dream comes true. You know, when you touch the wall. So it's amazing.
That's the famous last stroke you're talking about. Can you tell us about that?
I mean, yeah, that famous last stroke. Everybody asked me about how did you get the touch. You know, I think a lot of it had to do with the preparation. You know, we were very fit going into the Olympic Games. I think we were one of the fittest. You know, definitely one of the fittest butterfly swimmers out there. So, you know, the key for us was to use the bottom half. You know, your legs, your hips, and your legs. You know, like a dolphin. And you know, we knew coming into the last few strokes. I think, you know, I'm just guessing. Michael thought that, you know, he had it won. You know, he glided in, and basically, you know, he's never lost that race for 10 years. So, you know, I came in over the top and basically had a perfect finish. I finished with my fingers. I've actually still got a bit of a bump on my middle finger, but yeah, you can see it. It's a little bit of a dent there, but yeah, it's a cool party trick.
So, would you say that last stroke has changed your life then?
No, definitely. You know, I don't know if you guys would have invited me if I didn't.
Yeah, that's it. Chad, as you know, this is a TEDx event, and it's all about ideas worth sharing. So, what will your idea worth sharing be?
You know, I think there's two things I want to touch on. You know, one is, you know, basically, you know, never giving up on your dreams or your goals. You know, my father and my family have always taught me never to give up on anything. You know, it doesn't matter who your competition is, you know, who you're racing, whatever it is. You know, I think, you know, I've always learned that, you know, you have to finish strong and you have to believe in yourself. And you know, there's obviously many components that, you know, lead to success. But I think for me that was, you know, the biggest thing. You know, we all believed that we could win it, but I think at the end of the day you couldn't give up. You know, when the time got tough. I mean, you know, when you're swimming in a race against Michael Phelps, you know, you're behind him most of the way, and I think, you know, a lot of people would have just said maybe let's just give up and let's just take the silver. You know, but you know, Graham and I always said that, you know, we're going to go in there, we're going to fight him to the end. And, you know, that's one of the policies I live by. So, you know, that's just one of them. But another one is, you know, I think, you know, now that I've learned, you know, with, you know, a little bit of fame that I've come across, you know, it's good to stay grounded. You know, I think, you know, being arrogant in in different ways. I mean, there's a lot of people, you know, let's just say in this room, you know, in life that, you know, because they have a lot of money, because they're in power, because, you know, whatever their situation is in life, you know, there's no need to be arrogant, you know. And I think, you know, Graham and I and our families are all the same. We never, you know, we never showboat, you know, in any way. So I think, you know, if that's something I've learned over the last few months, is never to be arrogant for what you have. And I think, you know, that could be an important lesson to learn, you know, even coming from a young kid like me. Thank you very much, guys. Awesome.
Chad, it was very insightful, and thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Chad. Ladies and gentlemen.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.